Virtual private cloud. In this video, let's understand about the virtual private cloud. So as I recall, as discussed earlier in our previous videos, GCP has a very robust network connecting its data center across the world, right? And we can consider this below network diagram as their internal physical network. Okay, so this is how it is connected. They have their data center across the globe, and all their data centers are interconnected, and this is how they are connected. Okay, so when we create a virtual machine in our previous demonstration video, we could see there are two IP address that is assigned to the VM, right? One is internal IP address and the other one is external IP address. Okay, and in networking term, we can define as like one is private IP address, the other one is public network IP address. Okay, so the external IP address is address that is used to connect to the service using internet connectivity. Say for example, you have created a VM, and if you want to you have created a VM and you have hosted a web server within the VM, right? And if you want to connect to that service, the web service, from the internet, okay, not from the within the GCP network, if you want to access it from the internet, then you can make use of external IP address, or external IP address is used for it, and internal IP address is used for the communication, for the internal communication within the GCP platform. Okay, so that's the reason we have two IP address. One is internal and external. As the name suggests, external IP address is used for the communicating from external, means from internet, whereas internal IP address is used for the communication within the GCP environment. Okay, so the network map that's shown in the previous slide is the GCP's physical network. Okay, so the reason why I am telling here, okay, before getting into it, let's understand with an example. Okay, like how we create a virtual machine. A resource that are constructed virtually through a software. As you know that VM is not a hardware, means basically we are not procuring the hardware, right? We are just creating the required resources, the virtual machine resource, and through a software virtually. As like the same, we can also construct the virtual network using GCP's virtual private cloud option. Okay, and this virtual network will be formed within the Google Cloud platform, as like how the virtual machine is formed. So let me repeat, as like how we are creating a virtual machine, a resource virtually within the virtual machine is nothing but a resource, right? It's a resource that's created virtually within the GCP platform. Like the same way, we can also create a network, a virtual network within the Google Cloud platform. Okay, and we can create it using the option virtual private cloud. Fine. So it's again referring to the same point. Though VM can be created and managed virtually in the GCP, again, it is operating in a hardware resource within the data center. Though we are not procuring it directly, or we are not managing the data center, we are managing only the virtual server. But the VM, whichever we create virtually, right, it is running, it is operated within any hardware resources that is managed by the Google within the data center. Like the same, when we create a VPC, a virtual private cloud network, it is created virtually through the software, but it rely on the underlying physical network. When I say physical network, it is built over the Google's physical network. Okay. So just consider, let's see how to create it. Okay, let's understand about GCP with an example. Just consider that this is your Google Cloud platform. Okay, so just consider that you are creating a new project within your Google Cloud platform. So whenever you create any project, VPC network will be automatically created, or else whenever you create a new project, a new VPC network is formed automatically. And whatever resource that you built, whatever resource instance you have created within the project will be a part of the VPC network, because when you create the project, the VPC network will be automatically created, and all the resources that you create will be part of that VPC network. Let's understand this with a small example. Just consider that you are creating few VM instance. Okay, maybe some 3 or 4 VM instance where you want to deploy 2 VM instance. You want to create 2 VM instance in US West 1 zone. Okay, it's West 1 zone in US, and you want to create another virtual instance VM in the US East zone. Okay, so you are creating 2 VMs in US West zone and 1 VM in the US East zone. Though these two zones are located in a different geographical location, you can able to connect, or you can able to communicate from this virtual machine which you have created at this zone to this virtual machine that you have created in this zone, because it is through the VPC network. As I said earlier, whenever you create a project, a virtual private network will be created, and whatever resources you're creating within the project will be a part of will be part of this network, will be within this network only. So irrespective of geographical location, though both these two are in a different region and this is in different region, though they are in two different geographical region, they can able to reach, they can able to communicate, because all are in the means when it no, I'm not referring to the zones, I'm referring to the resources, all the resources, all the 3 resources, two from this region and this from this region, all the 3 resources are part of same VPC network. Okay, and you can also make in such a way that say for example, if you want to have this particular VM open to the internet, means any user who coming from internet can access this VM, and at the same time, if you want to keep this 2 VM within the network, within the GCP platform, you don't want to expose this to the internet, you can set up in that way as well. Okay, and as you keeping this VM open to internet, people from internet, or you can access the VM from internet. However, if you're keeping this close to within the GCP, no one can access from the internet, though it is part of VPC network, because VPC network is not exposed to the public, right? And so we know that both regions are in different geographical regions, right? Then how come this particular resource and this particular resource can able to communicate? That's, as we said, though they are in two different geographical location, they are part of same network, and they are communicated through the Google physical network, because our Google platform is built over their Google physical network, right? So, what are all the important concepts or the components that we need to learn in building the virtual private cloud networks? Projects, networks, we should understand about subnetworks, regions and zones that we discussed earlier, and virtual machines, routing and firewall. Let's discuss about this in our upcoming videos.